Parking is the act of stopping and disengaging a vehicle and leaving it unoccupied. Parking on one or both sides of a road is often permitted, though sometimes with restrictions. Some buildings have parking facilities for use of the building's users. Countries and local governments have rules for design and use of parking spaces. Parking facilities. Parking facilities include indoor and outdoor private property belonging to a house, the side of the road where metered or laid out for such use, a parking lot or car park, indoor and outdoor multi-level structures, shared underground parking facilities, and facilities for particular modes of vehicles such as dedicated structures for cycle parking. In the U.S., after the first public parking garage for motor vehicles was opened in Boston, May 24, 1898, livery stables in urban centers began to be converted into garages. In cities of the eastern U.S., many former livery stables, with lifts for carriages, continue to operate as garages today. The following terms give regional variations. All except carport refer to outdoor multi-level parking facilities. In some regional dialects, some of these phrases refer also to indoor or single-level facilities. Parking ramp. Elsewhere, the term ramp would apply to the inclines between floors of a parking garage, but not to the entire structure itself. Multi-story car park, parking structure, parking garage, parking building, carport, cycle park, parkade. In addition to basic car parking lots, variations of serviced parking types exist. Common serviced parking types are park and ride, valet parking, airport parking, meet and greet parking, park and fly parking. Parking spaces may be variously arranged. Parking lots specifically for bicycles are becoming more prevalent in many countries. These may include bicycle parking racks and locks, as well as more modern technologies for security and convenience. For instance, one bicycle parking lot in Tokyo has an automated parking system. Economics of parking. Urban parking spaces have high value. In Boston in 2009, a single parking space sold for $300,000. In congested urban areas, parking of motor vehicles is time-consuming and sometimes expensive. Urban planners must consider whether and how to accommodate or manage potentially large numbers of motor vehicles in small geographic areas. Usually the authorities set minimum, or more rarely maximum, numbers of motor vehicle parking spaces for new housing and commercial developments, and may also plan its location and distribution to influence its convenience and accessibility. The costs or subsidies of such parking accommodations can become a heated point in local politics. For example, in 2006 the San Francisco Board of Supervisors considered a controversial zoning plan to limit the number of motor vehicle parking spaces available in new residential developments. In the graph to the right, the value above the line represents the out-of-pocket cost per trip, per person for each mode of transportation. The value below the line accounts for subsidies, environmental impact, social and indirect costs. When cities charge market rates for on-street parking and municipal parking garages for motor vehicles, and when bridges and tunnels are tolled for these modes, driving becomes less competitive in terms of out-of-pocket costs than other modes of transportation. When municipal motor vehicle parking is underpriced and roads are not tolled, the shortfall in tax expenditures by drivers, through fuel tax and other taxes, amounts to a very large subsidy for automobile use. This subsidy for cars dwarfs the usual subsidies for the maintenance of infrastructure and discounted fares for public transportation. Where car parking spaces are a scarce commodity, and owners have not made suitable arrangements for their own parking, ad hoc overspill parking often takes place along sections of road where there is no planned scheme by a municipal authority to allocate road space. Heated social discourse sometimes revolves around the sense of ownership that informally arises. Many use parking chairs and other markers, usually without approval of municipal authorities. For example, during the winter of 2005 in Boston, the practice of some people saving convenient roadway for themselves became controversial. At that time, many Boston regions had a tradition that if a person shoveled the snow out of a road space, that person could claim ownership of that space with a marker. However, City government defied that custom and cleared markers out of spaces. Festivals and sporting events often spawn a cottage industry of parking. Homeowners, schools, and businesses often make extra money by charging a flat rate fee for all-day parking during the event. In some countries, such cottage industry parking has become large-scale business. The UK airport parking industry is currently estimated to be worth £1.3 billion British pounds per year. According to the International Parking Institute, parking is a $25 billion industry and plays a pivotal role in transportation, building design, quality of life and environmental issues. Some airports charge more for parking cars than for parking aircraft. Parking control is primarily an issue in densely populated cities in advanced countries, where the great demand for parking spaces makes them dear and difficult. In urban locations, parking control is a developing subject. Parking restrictions may be public or private. Local government as opposed to central government is the primary activator in public parking. The emphasis is on restriction of on-street parking facilities, and parking charges and fines are often major income sources for local government in North America and Europe. Typically, communication about the status of a roadway for parking takes the form of notices, for example fixed to a nearby wall and/or road markings. Part of the requirements for passing the driving test in some countries is demonstrated ability to understand parking signs. Motorists parking on street in big cities often have to pay for the time the vehicle is on the spot. There are fines for overstay. The motorist is often required to display a sticker beneath the windscreen indicating that he has paid for the parking space usage for an allocated time period. Private parking control includes both residential and corporate property. Owners of private property use initially signs indicating that parking facilities are restricted to certain categories of people such as the owners themselves and their guests and vehicles belonging to a company unregistered trademark staff members and its permitted contractors only. Communicating a parking restriction, and a workable deterrent, are necessary. The deterrent can take physical forms such as vehicle immobilization exemplified by the wheel clamp, and non-physical forms such as levying parking charges to the registered vehicle owners. The British company Flash Park has a non-physical parking control that involves charging the vehicle owner on behalf of the property owner by utilizing the internet and digital photography. It is probable that this method will spread and become worldwide. In both public and private grounds, physical methods include parking bollards, parking poles that swivel from horizontal to vertical, gated entry and exit with time-dependent charges for space utilization with payment of the same as the condition for exit, and electric gates. This is an expanding subject. Performance parking Donald C. Shoup in 2005 argued in his The High Cost of Free Parking book against the large consumption of land and other resources in urban and suburban areas for motor vehicle parking. Shoup's work has been popularized along with market rate parking and performance parking, both of which raise and lower the price of metered street parking with the goal of reducing cruising for parking and double parking without overcharging for parking. Performance parking, or variable rate parking, is based on Dr. Shoup's ideas. Electronic parking meters are used so that parking spaces in desirable locations and at desirable times are more expensive than less desirable locations. Other variations include rising rates based on duration of parking. More modern ideas use sensors and networked parking meters which bid up the price of parking automatically with the goal of keeping 90% of the spaces in use at any given time to ensure perpetual parking availability. These ideas have been implemented in Redwood City, California and are being implemented in San Francisco and Los Angeles. Fringe parking. Fringe parking is an area for parking usually located outside the central business district and most often used by suburban residents who work or shop downtown. Statistics. Parking Generation is a document produced by the Institute of Transportation Engineers that assembles a vast array of parking demand observations predominantly from the United States. It summarizes the amount of parking observed with various land uses at different times of the day and year, including the peak parking demand. While it has been assailed by some planners for lack of data in urban settings, It stands as the single largest accumulation of actual parking demand data related to land use. Anyone can submit parking demand data for inclusion. The report is updated approximately every 5 to 10 years. Finding parking. Mobile apps that help drivers find parking take different approaches, including ParkWiz, Spot Hero, and Just Park, which allows for mobile booking at participating lots and garages, checking availability, Monkey Parking, which lets drivers departing a parking space alert information to drivers looking for parking. This type of app has been outlawed in Boston and San Francisco. Some connected cars have mobile apps associated with the in-car system that can locate the car or indicate the last place it was parked. Cars with Internavi communicate to each other indicating recently vacated spots. San Francisco uses a system called SFPARK, which has sensors embedded in the roadway. It allows drivers to find parking via mobile app, website, or SMS, and includes smart parking meters and garages that use variable pricing based on time and location to keep approximately 15% of parking spaces open. Some South Boston spots also have sensors, so users of an app called Parker can find vacancies. Ford Motor Company is developing a system called Parking Spotter, which allows vehicles to upload parking spot information into the cloud for other drivers to access. Parking Guidance and Information System provides information about the availability of parking spaces within a controlled area. The systems may include vehicle detection sensors that can count the number of available spaces and display the information on various signs. There may be indicator lights that can lead drivers to an exact available spot. See also. References. External links: International Parking Institute.